Journalist TV. My name is Olivia, and today we are interviewing Amy Bell, a middle school science teacher at SAS and someone passionate about fostering animals. Hi, Miss Bell. Thank you for speaking to us today.
I'm so happy to be here. Thank you for asking me.
Why do you foster animals, and where do you find the animals?
That is a very good question. I foster them because when I was little, I was obsessed with animals. You might be like that too. And I had some cats. I didn't get to have a dog. My mom said no to dogs, but I always have sort of a soft heart for animals. And so when I was in Chile, I used to live in Chile, and there were a lot of stray cats in Chile in markets, and I would often be out doing my produce shopping on a Saturday, and there'd be these little kittens with sort of gooey eyes, and they didn't look so good, and I had my own cats at home, and I would literally scoop them up and put them in my purse and take them home and take care of them and then find them homes. Oddly enough, the first customer I ever had, the first adopter I ever had, was a woman named Alyssa Antonovich, who is in the middle school with me now, because we both ended up in Singapore, and she was the first person to adopt one of my kitties. And she has been a frequent adopter since. She has adopted other kitties since then. So I think it started because there was a need. I saw kitties that needed help, and I love animals. So, and there was no one to tell me no because I'm an adult. So I got to do it.
That sounds nice.
One day that can be you.
I agree. What if you want to keep the animal and fall in love with it?
I think that can be a really common problem. That happened to us one time. We did adopt one of the kitties that we took care of. I have my own cats. I have 3 cats now, and it's a full house. And in fact, for my oldest cat, who's about 10, having the foster kitties can be kind of stressful for her. So I'm very aware that we keep them for a certain amount of time, and our job is to find them a really good home. It's easier to do that because I already have a full house of animals that I get to keep and love. But there's something really fun about finding the right family. Like when a kid your age comes in and they fall in love with a kitty, even if I loved it too, I'm very excited for that kitty to go off and have this life where it's going to be completely adored by their own child and their own family. So that takes the edge off. That makes it a lot easier. But it does help when you find the right family.
How do you get people to adopt your fostered animals?
That's a good question. I used to do a lot of advertising here at school. There are a lot of people who've adopted animals from me who work here at SAS. And some of them are teachers and teacher kids, as well as just students and their families. I used to show even my own students in my 8th grade class some of the kittens, and sometimes I found families that way. The other thing that I started to do was I worked with an organization called Project Socks, and that was really helpful because they normally located the cats that needed to be fostered, and they also would provide some of the food and medical care, so I didn't have to pay all of that out of pocket. And then they would also help me find homes. So having that sort of support system from another organization was super helpful once I started doing it kind of full time. Like we always had kitties at home. When I was just doing it here or there because I would see like a kitty in the HDB that needed help, or someone would call and say, a mother cat had some babies, could someone take them? That was kind of my freelance. But then once I started working with an organization, that made it a lot easier to find the homes.
Do you name the pets that you foster? If you do, what do you name them and why?
We do name them. I learned this from some fosterers who are on Instagram that I follow. There's quite a few people that I follow on Instagram who do this as their profession, right? They actually have nonprofit organizations, and they're out there rescuing kitties and dogs and fostering them full time. And it's sort of part of marketing and advertising to make the pets seem more appealing. You kind of give them like names that have something in common. So one time it was around Thanksgiving, and we had a group of kittens, and so we named them all after Thanksgiving foods. So we had a cranberry, we had a pumpkin pie, and we had a turkey. So that's what they were named. And then we had another group that were named, we found them in Chinese New Year, and so that year we named them, we had a dumpling, we had different names for all of them that sort of followed that theme. Mostly it helps me keep track of the litters of kitties we've had, but also it's kind of cute for people to come and then they adopt them and name them whatever they want. But we come up with some cute names for them for the time being.
What was the most unusual animal you fostered and why?
Mostly fostering has just been kitties. I've never fostered dogs. We have our own dog. gosh, we definitely have had animals that have come through. Like we've had some lizards, some geckos we've kept for a little while. We did have kind of, I don't even know what type of species it was, but it was here. It was a long-tailed lizard. It wasn't a gecko. It was a good-sized lizard, and it was. We just kept it for a few days to get it kind of. It was stuck in a garbage bin, and it was sort of dehydrated. So we kept it for a few days in a tank and got it up to speed, and then we released him. So that's probably the most unusual, but mostly we just stick to kitties. That's my specialty.
Did you have pets when you were young? What kind of pets did you have?
We only had cats. Actually, that's not true. I think my mom a couple of times brought home chicken eggs. So we lived in a farming community in California, and you could bring home like 6 chicken eggs around Easter time, and you get an incubator, and you were allowed to hatch them and let them grow until they were about 3 or 4 weeks old. And then you took them back to the farm and they became egg layers at the farm. So that was kind of fun. So my mom did things like that. She was an animal softie too, so was my dad. And so we did some chickens and then mostly just kitties. We did have one time, this was like my dream, I was in 6th grade and we had 2 kitties that we were fostering, and they both we didn't realize when we were fostering them that they were pregnant. So 2 mother cats they were sisters, they had 12 baby kittens. And I was in heaven. So I would come home after school and there would be 12 baby kittens. We had them in our back patio. We lived in California, so the weather was really nice. And the mommies. And then we ended up keeping 2 kitties and we found homes for all the rest. And then my mother was like, that's it, we're not doing that. But it was really fun for me. So that was definitely formative. They actually gave birth to their babies underneath my bed. So I got to watch. I was into all that. I wanted to be a vet, all those things. I thought that was amazing.
What do you do if one of the animals is being mean to another animal?
Well, that does happen. With cats, I think they're very territorial, and so they need to have their own separate spaces. So in our last house, we had one dedicated room for all the foster kitties, and then that way our other cats could roam through the house and live their lives and not feel threatened. My oldest cat, the one I mentioned before, she's 10, and it is stressful for her to have another mommy cat. She doesn't mind the kittens, but the mommy cats, because they start to get comfortable in our house and they kind of want to take over, and she's the top cat. So she then gets a little bit stressed out. So it's just managing that, making sure they all have their own spaces. The kittens, one thing that we are responsible for when we foster is socializing them. So I would invite neighbor kids to come over. I want the kittens to be comfortable around loud noises. My dog he have a huge dog. He loves kitties. He loves to lick them all over. He would lay with them and lick them. And so what you end up then with is a cat who's super friendly and comfortable around a lot of environments, and those are the most adoptable cats. They find homes really fast.
What is your favorite animal that you fostered, and why did you like her/him the most? Or do you not have any preferences?
Well, my species preference is cat. I do love cats. The one that we were a foster fail with a cat named Rex, and he was we were not planning on fostering him. We normally do mother cats with babies, or we do pregnant mother cats. But this time someone called me, and it was not through any organization. He'd gotten my name from somebody else and said he'd found this kitty in a parking lot, and could we foster him and find him a home? And I said, sure. And it was the friendliest ginger cat. He was so chill and cool. He would let kids pick him up and carry him around. They'd sling him over his shoulder. They'd put clothes on him, like baby bonnets and stuff like that. He was great. And so then we failed. We kept him. That was during 2020 in the middle of COVID, and we were like, what's one more cat? So we kept him, and he's a great cat.
Thank you for answering all my questions.
You're so welcome. If you have any more, you just let me know. It was a pleasure.